Quigley's doing with it. A new industry has sprung up. So yes, burning's becoming less and less and less, but there are some crops that to get the paddock or the field back into production, you have to actually forced into a burning regime, and there's probably people in this room know that better than me.
Thank you, Councillor Mackay. Now, Councillor Wilson.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I've got two questions. Are these proposals different to what we already have in operation?
Through you, Madam Chair, I guess the technical answer will be yes. There's been a review done, I guess, through ECAN. My reading of it is that a lot of the standards that are already in the ECAN air plan are sort of mimicked in this document. There are some that are slightly more stringent. There are probably some that are slightly less stringent. I guess the direction that we were wanting to go through with this one was to say, hey, look, we've got an air plan that pretty much controls a lot of these things, except perhaps for some of the PM 2.5 pollution. I believe that the ECAN plan is nationally reasonably well advanced. You know, it's quite ahead of the game. So you've got to think that this document is designed for the whole of the country. It's not just for Canterbury. So, look, I'm no expert on reading the differences in those rules, but I believe that there's not a lot of difference overall between what ECAN is what ECAN already has in place and what this is proposing.
Supplementary, on the page with the map of our district, is that, I was under the impression that that was, our air plan area was slightly different to that, or was that exactly the same as it is now?
Through the chair, that's what we've been provided from ECAN, but we will look into that.
If that's the case, it's fine. I just thought it did extend in some areas a bit more than that.
Not showing that bit.
Through the chair, I did have a look at the ECAN E-plan, and that's the, is that the one, does that look more familiar to you?
It's on page...
Oh no, sorry,
page 12, the one we've got.
The one that you're referring to,
yes,
that you thought was different, does it look more like that? Oh, sorry.
It identifies Tynwald in a different way.
Yes, completely different to that.
That's really
Completely different.
Yes, so this map is just referring to the Ashburton Township, isn't it?
Well, my question is, which map is actually going to be the one we're discussing?
What we could do is actually add that map in as a supplement as well. So what we've provided here is just some context in terms of the Ashburton Township's airshed and how we are going as a town and how we've improved over time as a result of the Canterbury air plan. But I think you're right, we should include that map as well, just to show the bigger context of just how it does impact on our rural properties that are relatively close to town. So we'll add that in.
So you're happy with that, Councillor Wilson? Thank you. Mayor Brown?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Just to follow on from Angus's comments about using herbicide and insecticide, if you don't burn to because of what's left behind, you could also add in nitrogen. Nitrogen is required to break down stubbles in huge amounts, and if you burn, you don't need as much nitrogen. So that's just a fact. I have a question on number 10, and it talks, the second sentence, it's an important process for cropping farmers in the Ashburton district as a valued rotational tool. What is a rotational tool?
Thank you. Through the chair, this is me applying some wizard words, which probably aren't correct. It's in terms of trying to, in my layman's understanding, I'm not a crop farmer, was of being able to get a paddock field turned around quickly. So it's grown what it needed to grow, and then by stubble burning, you can turn it around quickly for the next crop to go in. So I may have used the wrong terminology, and I'm happy to be corrected.
Rotational is not quite the right word, but
It's a seasonal thing, isn't it? It's changed.
Should it be seasonal?
I'm not sure if it's seasonal is the right word either.
It's timing.
It's rotational.
It is a rotational. She is right, really.
Yeah, I think it's correct. No, if you think it's there, it's okay. It's just,
Through the chair, would preparation tool, would that be?
or just a valued tool. Drop the word altogether. Yeah, cool.
I was going to add to that because often we only, depending on weather, we may only have about 2 weeks between harvesting one crop and another. And the crops we're really having to burn now are the hemp and the linseeds because it does not break down in the soil, and you have to burn it. And I think if they're aiming for one plan to fit the whole of the country, it's not going to work, and we really have to push the point that we have to burn here in mid-Canterbury, because I hear mayors and different ones on television the other night, and they just want it banned outright, and we really need to push that one plan will not fit the whole country. But otherwise it's been well written, thank you.
Neil, you've got some further comments?
Yeah, I've got the word, I think. It's a valued management tool.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Latham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Clause 11, the last bit of it, council submits, regarding instances of where smoke from stubble burning has breached the Ashburton airshed. Council submits that this may be due to actions being undertaken in breach of existing rules, and this forms a compliance issue rather than one of a lack of control. How much is there a breach of existing rules, or is that just something to pad the clause out? Because I'm of the opinion that they're not breached that much, if at all. So
Through the chair, we're not making, and in fact, it's an ECAN control issue. It's not an issue that this council deals with in terms of air management. I know just actually, yeah, but we know that it has happened, but in terms of the frequency, we're not quite sure whether that's the case.
yeah, well, we certainly would be concerned if controls were more restrictive. So, and also clause 12, I think there might be a word missing in the last line. The region is likely to be already compliant.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll fix that.
Thank you for your discussion. Any other comments anyone wishes to make? I know myself, I know there's a frustration, and there'll be urban people listening who think, oh my gosh, you go home and there's, smut on the washing on the line, which is, unfortunately, sometimes there is a burn close to town or closer, but it's usually the wind that's the reason, not necessarily when the farmer lit the fire. But given that, Councillor Mackay?
In discussion, Madam Chair, I totally agree with you, but I do not believe that wind is an issue. A farmer knows whether the wind is going to change or not,
They should.
and should adjust the timing appropriately. Some of the smoke in Ashburton since I've been living here, I have seen, is totally irresponsible, and it's actually an honour to be able to carry out tilling the land and growing food, and some farmers absolutely destroyed that honour for the people of Ashburton. There is no excuse at all. If you see big clouds down south, there's no reason to rush. It's the worst possible time to rush out and burn, because that will cover Ashburton in smoke if you're to the south.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Well, if there's no further comments, we've got a motion on page 5, which is the recommendation that we receive the report and that Council approves the submission with the minor adjustments we've made to the Ministry for the Environment about the proposed National Environmental Air Standards, air quality standards. So would somebody like to move that? Lynette Lovett, thank you, and
I
Roger
will move
Latham.
that.
So you're all in favour of the motion as the submission reads? Please say aye. Aye. Contrary? Thank you. And that, I think, brings to the end our Environmental Services meeting. So thank you very much.